What's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today. And today we're going to be talking about the Boston Celtics potentially signing guard Austin Rivers, who actually, his dad, Doc Rivers, was the head coach for the Celtics. But Austin, with how much he's followed his dad, being with the Clippers and playing there for a little bit, then got traded out. I don't think he's been reunited with his dad since. Never played with the Celtics, and I'm pretty sure Austin was in the NBA when Doc Rivers was coaching for them. But Austin Rivers was recently on the Bill Simmons podcast, if you do not know. Bill Simmons is a huge Celtics fan. Also, I can't remember his basketball book, but he has a great basketball book, and he's just a very smart basketball person. And he was on the Bill Simmons podcast, great podcast as well. And so he talked about, with Austin Rivers was on the Simmons podcast, and Simmons asked him about potentially signing with the Boston Celtics. And here's what Austin Rivers said. He said he spoke with Boston Celtics president of basketball operations, Brad Stevens, who was also the former head coach, about joining the team. He said, I had a great talk with Brad actually like a week ago. Rivers told Simmons after Simmons brought up the possibility of Rivers joining Boston, given the Celtics' need for another guard in the wake of Marcus Smart trade. Rivers said, that's why I called Brad. I told him I'd love to be a part of the team. He said a lot of positive things. We'll see if that's something that will come to happen. I've always loved Brad. I've always been a fan of him. So, I'm pretty sure if not, I know they have one, but I think Boston has one or two roster spots open. They recently, I think almost a week ago, just signed a power forward / center that the Kings waived, Nia Keita. He was a second-round pick in the 2021 NBA draft. He's mostly been a G League player. So I know they have one roster spot open because maybe a month ago, they had two. And Nia Keita has been the only player they signed. So I'm pretty sure they have one roster spot open, not two. So it's going to be interesting to see how Boston's looking to, spend that last roster spot. They worked out two players, Lamar Stevens and TJ Warren. And as far as I know, what I've been hearing and what I've seen and what I've seen with rumors wise is Boston is still interested in Lamar Stevens, former power forward / small forward for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I think maybe the final roster spot for the Boston Celtics going into training camp probably come down to either Austin Rivers or Lamar Stevens, two solid players. It just depends what Boston is desiring more. Is it a forward who is a solid defender but not a good three-point shooter? Or is it a guard who can step up? They need some guard help. Right now, you really only got Malcolm Brogdon and Derek White, and then Peyton Pritchard off the bench. So, Derek White should be. I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see if Derek White starts. I think Derek White will probably be the one to start, and Brogdon will come off the bench. Or maybe Brogdon does start. I have no idea. Brogdon came off the bench all season last year. I don't think Brogdon started a game, and he won Sixth Man of the Year last year. So I don't know if I see Brogdon starting for them. I think it's going to either be Brogdon or it's going to be Derek White starting. But I think at the one will either be Brogdon or White. Then the two will be Jaylen Brown, and then the three will be Tatum. The four will probably be Al Horford, and I forget that Porzingis is on that team. The four will be Porzingis. And as much as I like Robert Williams, the five would probably be Al Horford, but at the same time, it very well could be Robert Williams. So I think this Boston Celtics team, they need to figure out some depth off the bench and maybe add in another guard. And looking at it, yeah, you have Brogdon and Peyton Pritchard, but you might want to add in another guard with Austin Rivers. He's an experienced guy. He's a veteran. He's been in the NBA, I think, since 2012, 2013, something like that. So he's been in the league for, if not already 10 years, almost 10 years, and he's been a very experienced player. Last season, played with the Minnesota Timberwolves. He averaged 5 points per game with 2 rebounds per game and 2 assists per game. He's a good three-point shooter. He's a good facilitator. Mainly he plays shooting guard, but he can also play point guard. But, it just depends how Boston's looking to spin this final roster spot. Are you looking to bring in someone like Lamar Stevens, former Cleveland Cavalier? Are you looking to bring in someone like Austin Rivers? Or maybe do you still have do you still have interest in someone like TJ Warren, who last played for the Phoenix Suns, who they worked out a couple weeks ago? So yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to see how Boston, figures out this last roster spot. I think the best fit would probably be Austin Rivers, especially if him and Brad Stevens have talked about it. But I don't know. If I'm the Celtics and I'm Brad Stevens, I pull the trigger for Austin Rivers. I think he's a pretty solid, accomplished guard in this league. He's starting to get a little older and not as much as he wasn't not as good as he used to be a couple years ago, but still a solid guard. And although didn't do that great in Minnesota this year, he didn't play that much either in Minnesota this year. So maybe he gets some more minutes in Boston than he did in Minnesota last year if he joins the Celtics. But we'll see what happens. You let me know your thoughts on the potential signing for the Boston Celtics. That's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section.